All right, ladies and gentlemen, you are welcome to another great episode on your favorite political talk show, The Truth with Ben Jokes. Now, the 2023 presidential election had three major candidates, but the events that took place in the run-up to the elections and the litigation after the election left us with so many winners and so many losers. The biggest winners are members of the OBIdient family who can proudly say they have no hand in the calamity that is befalling this country under the Tinubu administration. While the biggest losers are those who supported APC because of tribe and religious sentiments. And one of the most notable losers in that category is Professor Wole Soyinka. Soyinka's fall from grace to grass following the 2023 elections was too rapid. Hours ago, he was on an interview complaining and wailing, crying about Peter Obi and the OBIdient family, and his bitterness gave me joy. You could see that he has become a defeated, bitter soul. Defeated to the point that ordinary Nigerians found loopholes in his submission and began to correct him. Remember when he used the word fascist on Peter Obi's vice, Yusuf Dati, and Chimamanda Adichie corrected him on TV. This time around, he made a wrong remark about Peter Obi, and ordinary Nigerians began to correct him. Before I show you that remark, his complaining, his tears, and how Nigerians reacted, let me quickly show you this shameful update coming out of the National Assembly. You know, when we say the APC-led National Assembly does not care about Nigerians, they are only there for themselves, we sound harsh. But while Nigerians are worried about hunger and poverty, look at the useless bill that the House of Rep is debating on. As a matter of fact, this bill has passed the first and the second reading. Look at how the papers reported it. Reps pass bill to return Nigeria to old national anthem. The House of Representatives on Thursday passed a bill seeking to return Nigeria back to reciting the old national anthem, Nigeria we hail thee, and discard the present one, Arise, O compatriot. Sponsored by the House Leader, Honorable Julius Ihombere, the bill speedily passed through first, second reading, considered and approved at the Committee of the Whole, and passed for third reading at plenary. The legislation is titled Bill for an Act to Provide for the National Anthem of Nigeria and for Matters Related thereto. According to the bill, on the date of the commencement of the bill, the national anthem of the Federal Republic of Nigeria shall be Nigeria we hail thee, which is prescribed in the schedule to the proposed legislation. Presenting the bill, the House Leader said that the old anthem gives a sense of commitment, sense of dedication, and a desire to move Nigeria forward. Hence, the need for a change. Mr. Speaker, a time comes in the life of every organization or a nation when the people must sit down, look at the past and present, the future, and have the courage, the sense of a nation to design the way forward. I believe that Nigeria is at that stage and momentum. Therefore, the next thing to do to move Nigeria forward is to change the national anthem. How despicable. And look at how Nigerians reacted. Look at some of the tweet reactions. Isaac Olatunde here says, how will this stop hunger or help our economy? If you ask me, who I go ask, Ibironke Kodri says, what a mess. This is actually ridiculous. That is it. And Adeyemi here says, abeg, are these guys even remotely bothered about our priorities in all this ridiculous hardship? Shey na national anthem be our problem? Now, wow. Personally, I like updates like this. They go to show that all we say about these guys are true. These politicians are heartless and even brainless. Of course, there were members of the House who kicked against it, but it still scaled through the first and second readings. And whether it eventually gets through or not, it proves that the APC-led National Assembly is all about charade. They are just jokers. Make believe. They are only there for themselves. Now, the National Assembly wasn't exactly good under the PDP too, and that's why we are saying our country needs to change. And that change begins from rejecting the APC. No day passes in this country without one or two major cases of kidnapping or bandit attack. Our inflation rate just hit 33.8%. Proposed minimum wage cannot buy a bag of rice, but all the House of Rep members are talking about is changing the national anthem. Disgraceful, to say the least. Now, let us look at how Professor Wole Soyinka, now popularly known as Professor Gbajue, wailed bitterly about Peter Obi and OBIdients in this interview. Look at how the papers reported it. I hope Peter Obi doesn't contest next presidential election. His team is incompetent to lead Nigeria. Wole Soyinka. Nobel laureate Professor Wole Soyinka has said he hopes Peter Obi, a former Labour Party presidential candidate, will not contest the next election. Soyinka said this in a recent interview with Noble Nigeria, arguing that the actions of the Labour Party leadership in the last election showed that he and his team were not fit to govern Nigeria. The literary icon further accused Obi of controlling the online trolls responsible for the insults directed at him and other prominent figures who raised critical questions about the party's campaign during the electioneering period. Soyinka was constantly insulted by Obi's supporters, known as OBIdients, on social media, especially X. Soyinka said, "It has to do with education. I didn't read all these insults by obedient movement, but of course some links were sent to me, especially when facts were being manufactured. When I read these things, I was disgusted. There is no word for it. I really was disgusted, and I know that it was orchestrated. I know that there is a relay mechanism which is triggered into action by those who control what we call the trolls of the internet. And so my disgust and contempt, I just went about my business, because anybody on this earth who thinks they can stop me telling the truth as I see it needs to have his or her head examined. It is as elementary as that, but it is depressing to see those who wanted to be political leaders encouraging that kind of action, that kind of attitude in the youth. And my mind went to the expression, they don't know what they are doing. Those who sow the wind will reap the whirlwind." You heard that. That was Professor Wole Soyinka. And the first thing to point out here is that Peter Obi has never set up any team to lead Nigeria with. So saying he and his team showed that they are not competent enough to lead Nigeria is a totally flawed submission. He has never set up any team. He only had a campaign team. And secondly, Soyinka is a very wicked and one-sided judge. He judges Peter Obi to the point of holding him responsible for what a total stranger said to him on the internet. He is confidently saying one man is not fit to lead Nigeria because of arguments, debates that he had online with other Nigerians. But he hasn't said anything about a man with identity crisis leading Nigeria. He has not said anything about a man who submitted disgraceful documents to INEC. But I can feel the pain in his chosen language, and each failure recorded by this regime is a dent on his already soiled name. And look at how Nigerians reacted. Look at some of the tweet reactions. And this tweet here says, "Peter has never assembled any team to lead Nigeria. Why the constant attack on the man? He never talked against Wole Soyinka for once. The man keeps on attacking his credibility. That is what bigotry can do to you." Soyinka has totally lost it. And this tweet here says, "Which team? Has Obi become president before to know his team? Gbajue professor, don't come again." Oh, that is it. Professor Gbajue, you have totally lost it. And this tweet here says, "Is there a shadow government somewhere? I don't get what the great professor meant by Peter Obi's team that is incompetent to lead Nigeria. It is very unfortunate that the people we look up to leave the team that is ruthlessly dealing with the masses and be pursuing shadow." Who is looking to Professor Gbajue? Maybe not only you. And Alakowe here says, "Once they are living fine and their families are okay, they don't care. Even if fuel is sold for 2,000 naira per litre, Uncle Soyinka doesn't care." I'm glad you know that. And Yakubu here says, "Enemies of the masses PLC. His friend has been in government for close to a year now. Things are going bad. He did not see anything bad to say. His comment is all about Peter Obi and 2023 election. Wicked old man. Very wicked old man. And this tweet here says, this man is very close to his grave, yet he still spills rubbish. May God forgive him. Chai. And Frontliner says, see who is talking. He doesn't have mouth to condemn the madness currently in play, but to criticize someone who is doing even better outside government. Better outside government. He has touched more lives. Peter Obi has touched more lives in the last 11 months than the entire APC put together. But I am not surprised. Bigotry and money are two very powerful items. Professor Wole Soyinka, aka Professor Gbajue, has sold his conscience for money, and while he was negotiating the deal, he sat on the altar of bigotry. Anyway, make I leave am here. Make I still enter town. Make I go get some ogbonge political news wey una go like. Why? Because of una. Now I dey here, so don't go away. Don't go away.